Alright people, Mike Saladin here again. Welcome back to some more Baldur's Gate 3. This is day 4 of my blind playthrough. Today I just wanted to have another quick look around the Emerald Grove, speak to some characters that I hadn't spoken to too much before, and just make sure I wasn't missing anything, because I'd really ignored quite a lot of the druids in this area. I kind of turned against them almost immediately when I noticed how they were treating all the tieflings or tieflings. But I thought maybe I'd given some of them, maybe I'd maybe tarred some of them all with the same brush and judged them all harshly based on my one conversation with the head druid who was trying to attack Arabella with that snake. And I thought maybe I better go speak to them all individually and see if some of them are sort of decent just before I make up my mind to really side with the goblin camp or not. So I started speaking to some of the humans around here. I don't even know if they're all druids, but one of the characters I spoke to was this Auntie Ethel. Uh, she seemed kind of crazy, and I did recall that a tiefling whose legs I'd unparalyzed in my last play session. She mentioned being sold like a dodgy potion by, I think it's this lady right here. So I was disinclined to maybe uh, buy anything from her or to put too much faith into anything she was saying. Uh, but I did decide I would agree to go meet her at her house or whatever, just because it might be an interesting quest. And I think I sold some stuff to her, or maybe I bought like one item off her that didn't seem that dangerous. But I had a bad feeling about her, and that she was probably going to poison me by mistake, or sell me something dodgy that was going to mess up my plans. But I did decide I would go see her house later if I get around to it. So I went around, spoke to some more humans. I don't know if they're all druids or these are just other random refugees who were stuck here. But I think I'd spoken to most of the tieflings by now, or tieflings. Still can't decide which way to pronounce it, so I'll just keep saying both. But yeah, the humans and the druids, they don't seem that fond of my race. And to be fair, most of the ones we've run into, like all the children around here, they have been stealing from the druids and just taking anything that isn't nailed down. And I'm not quite sure if that's standard behavior or if the druids were really if they done something to deserve all this theft. Um, or if the tiefling children just decided to start stealing stuff as soon as they got here. This was another child who I hadn't spoken to before. Uh, they were doing this magic trick with a ring, making it disappear or whatever. And because I've got sleight of hand and I'm a bit of a rogue and a bard, I decided to take the ring and then make it disappear as well. And used to be like, "Oh, you think you're cool? Well, look at this," and that kind of impressed them. I could have kept the ring now and just walked away with it. There was the option to pocket the ring, but I didn't really want to do anything too bad against any of the tiefling characters because they kind of were warming up to me. I'd helped them a lot already, so I just decided to have a bit of fun with them and mess around. And I did eventually give the ring back, even though I'm pretty sure it's stolen. Also, it's got a fake item description of Ring of Strength or whatever, and it clearly has no effects at all. While I was talking to this little merchant, his sidekick came up behind me and tried to pickpocket me, but I caught them, turned around, had a little skill check. This was to check if they were seriously upset or if they were faking their tears, and they did seem genuinely upset that they were robbing people, and they didn't want to do it anymore. And then they ran off, and I think went back to the hideout that I found previously. So I tried to confront the merchant, uh, saying, you're gonna get into trouble doing this or whatever. Uh, but they didn't really back down from it, and they seemed like they were gonna keep doing it. And I wasn't that mad because I caught them before they actually stole anything useful. I couldn't get into the hole they seemed to escape into. It seems like an alternative path into the hideout. So, but I had already found this other main entrance, so I came down just to try to talk to that kid, see if I could do anything. Um, I think this is the hole that they came down over here, but I'm too big to get into it. I don't know if we're ever gonna get like a character who's like really short in our party who we can send into these kind of places. But I guess there must be something if we can interact with those kind of holes. So that was the kid who had previously stolen the locket. Um, I didn't really need to speak to him. I was looking for the one who tried to pickpocket me. I think this is them over here, but they didn't really have any more dialogue. They were just kind of standing over here. I thought maybe speaking to the leader might give some more dialogue about the situation, but they didn't really have anything new to say either. So I decided that was probably the end to that little interaction. So I just left that kid down there and went back up to like speak to some more druids and humans and other refugees. Um, I think I spoke to this guy who was training over here. He's pretty terrible with his fighting stance or whatever, and I tried to give him some pointers, but I failed the skill check, and he just got even worse at swordplay. Unfortunately, yeah, I think I tried to use insight to like tell him how he was doing it wrong or whatever, and just completely failed. Uh, it wasn't something that really concerned me that much, so I didn't bother to save scum it or reload this. Because again, I'm trying to only do save scumming if it involves like a main party member or something dying and something I really couldn't get past allowing to happen. So I went down to the main place where the druids were hanging out again. I passed a skill check to move this bear out of the way, and it turned out there was like a little shortcut over here. I saved before I interacted with the lever because I was worried it was going to do something dangerous, but then it turned out to just be an elevator that opens this like quicker path down to the main druid ceremony area or whatever you would call this. Um, so yeah, the sacred pole area. Tried to talk to this bird down here, but they didn't really want to speak to me. Um, They seem to have some stuff hidden in their nest, but I didn't bother taking any of it. This character had been speaking to a bird previously, so I was trying to ask her what she was doing. And I think she said she was waiting on news of the druid leader, which surprised me because I thought the druid leader was in here already and that I'd spoken to her. But it turns out that their actual leader is a person called Haslin, I think. Or yeah, Haslin, something like that. And Kagia or whatever her name is, she's actually just like stepping up for this Master Haslin guy or whatever. She's just filling in for him while he's away. So I was kind of intrigued by this, and I thought I wanted to hunt down this guy now because he might actually be a lot better of a leader than the person who's currently in charge here. And he might win me back over from my plan of siding with the goblins to destroy this place. I also spoke to this guy. He was again a lot more friendlier than the main person in charge here at the moment. He was saying that it was a good thing that I stopped her attacking the child, and that he really wishes the old leader was back and that somebody would find him. He thinks he's been attacked by goblins when they were out on the road or whatever. So again, I was happy that I'd come back here and decided to speak more thoroughly to the druids. And it turned out not all of them were just like complete assholes. Because I did assume after my first conversation with the like I can't pronounce her name right, Kagia or whatever her name is. I just after my first conversation with her when she was trying to set the snake on Arabella or whatever, I just assumed all the druids were probably like hateful and that they didn't like tieflings or whatever. So I decided I was going to side with the goblins. But it might have been a bit of a hasty reaction, and I'm glad I came back here and looked around a bit more and unlocked some different little conversations and stuff. Shadowheart was kind of interested in this artwork that the druids had here. We got a little bit of history check there. I found this healer called Nettie, I think. Um, and she was working on this bird, and we had a bit of a conversation about how I've been infected with the mind flare parasite. And she kind of lies to us and suggests that she can heal us, or that if she examines us, she might be able to do something for us. I was pretty sure she wasn't being truthful because of how early into the game I am. I was like, they're not going to present the solution to curing yourself in the first like main sort of stronghold area that you get to. That would be a bit too simple. So I didn't really trust her, but I decided to follow her in here anyway, just to see where this was going. It turns out she already had like a different person who was infected with the parasites in here that they found, and they had been dissecting him and trying to learn more about it. She gathered up this root thing. She was trying to get us to take that initially, but we kind of sussed out that she wasn't being truthful, and yeah, Shadowheart jumped in to say something there. We kind of had a successful insight little check there, and we realized that she was kind of talking nonsense. So I decided to confront her about this. Um, and she said that if we want her help, she's gonna give us this like toxin that we have to drink if we feel ourselves turning into a mind flare. Um, she basically says that it's better to like do yourself in with this poison than just become a mind flare. I agreed to take it. The party disagreed with this quite heavily. I think they all disapproved when I took it. Or maybe Shadowheart actually approved because she thought it was good to have a way out instead of becoming just a mind flayer. But I'm pretty sure Karlach and Mr. Vampire over there, yeah, they disapproved, and only Shadowheart was like, yeah, this is, it's okay to agree to this. I probably shouldn't have sworn to it because I'm probably going to end up breaking that promise or vow or whatever. But my character, being a bard, they just sort of say what they have to say to get through things. And sort of, they're a bit of a charlatan, bit of a fraud, a bit of a ducker and diver, and they'll just say anything to get out of whatever the current situation is. Um, so I'm probably not going to end up using that thing, and I might actually sell it if it's worth money when I next go to a vendor or a trader or whatever. I don't know if I can sell it or if it's like a key item that you just can't get rid of or whatever. But yeah, I agreed to take it off her hands, and then basically she was again telling us about Haslin or whatever his name is, the true leader of this place. And we were sort of like, yeah, we'll go find him then. He sounds pretty important. And it is actually wild that I could have come here, had that bad experience with the lady falling in for him, and just gone straight to the goblin camp and made that like really hasty decision to just side with goblins. But I decided to be a bit more thorough and look around a bit more carefully and just try to speak to everyone just in case. And then it turned out there was a whole other quest line in here involving finding the true druid leader. And I was really impressed at this point because it was obvious Larian. They'd made a really open game, which didn't really hold your hand or direct you too much in one direction. They really just let you build your own story, and whatever you decide to do is gonna be what drives forward the story. They're not really pulling you in one direction or another. Um, they do kind of guide you towards Emerald Grove, I would say, just with how the party members are placed. It does feel like you're supposed to go there before anywhere else, but you don't have to. I could have literally wandered off in any direction. Um, but I got to this blighted village again. I think I'd been here at another side of town before, and I hadn't run into any of these goblins. But this one on the roof spotted me walking in. But I was able to use like a mind flare ability to like sort of Jedi mind trick this goblin into leaving me alone by saying that I was a true one or whatever. Um, all the party members had something to say about this. Karlach thought it was a dangerous power and that we shouldn't abuse it because it's clearly something to do with the mind flares. Shadowheart was like, we need to research it a bit. And the Mr. Vampire, as I keep calling him, he was like, whatever, let's just use it. It's helping us out. We might as well use this power while we have it. And I think I basically just said, I think we better not use it because it's probably best not to help the parasites take over our mind any quicker than they already are. Uh, so another reason I was in this blighted village is because I'd spoken to one of the armorers previously, and he told us about this infernal iron uh, material that we need to help Karlach with her engine that's in her chest. Try to cool it down or whatever. And I looked on the map, and some of it was apparently in this town. So that's why I came to this blighted village or whatever. Um, I started trying to like lockpick some of these boxes and stuff because apparently it was in here in one of these boxes. So I had a little skill check. I was just making sure I had a good chance of passing it. This wasn't the right box, but it was definitely in here somewhere because the like quest marker was in here. I think was this the correct box? I think I lockpicked this one as well. Um, got just I failed that one actually. I had to do that again. I think I passed it this time. Yeah, just about passed it. And in here was the Infernal Iron. And then Karlach was really happy that we found that, and she was like, "Yeah, let's go patch up my engine or whatever." And I'm really trying to follow Karlach's storyline closely and do as much of it as early on as I can, just to make sure I don't miss anything with it, because I'm the most invested in Karlach so far, and I don't want to mess up her storyline. And I thought maybe if I left it too long, like in trying to get this iron, maybe something bad will happen to her if you advance the story too much. So I wandered around the blighted village a bit more, just collecting random stuff, reading some books. That journal said there was a cellar in here, so I found the entrance to that, but I decided not to go down there, and that I would maybe investigate that some other time. But I did stop off at this wardrobe and I found another hat. I think it's a similar one, or maybe the exact same one that I gave to Shadowheart already. And I was like, it'd be pretty funny if I gave Karlach and Shadowheart matching hats, and that they both went around with their hair down for the rest of the game. So I equipped this floppy hat on Karlach, and her horns just, I guess she made some holes in the hat so that her horns stick out through them. And she also lets her hair down the way Shadowheart does. So now they've got magic hats, and I just thought that was funny. And this is the kind of dumb thing that amuses me. I do think I'll give Karlach a different hat later on, just for a bit more variety. But I'm pretty sure everyone's gonna have a hat by the end, because I just find it funny to put everyone in hats. Um, I was equipping a dagger that I found on the vampire guy there. Uh, I think it was the knife that I pulled out of that bit of meat that was roasting on a hill. I just I thought he would be the best one to use it because he's kind of a rogue and he likes to use a lot of daggers and stuff. So before I left the village, I ran into some more goblins. They tied up this gnome and attached him to a windmill. And I decided I was going to help him get down. I basically just I didn't threaten the goblin. I was kind of just like, uh, yeah, you know, you could be fighting a real enemy right now or someone far tougher than this. Um, and that you're sort of just wasting your time here doing this with this gnome guy. And they seemed to fall for that, this persuasion attempt. I had a lot of plus ones and stuff to add onto it, so it was a pretty successful skill check to pass. I think if I failed, I'd probably have to fight them all, and I really wasn't in the mood for fighting any of these goblins today. So I'm glad I managed to like talk them into leaving, and also importantly, Karlach approved of that decision. Now I had to find a way to get this gnome down from the windmill. So I decided there must be a way into the windmill, and I came around the back and I noticed this giant hole in the wall. And I was like, oh, I could jump in there, but before I could, I got this little cutscene of Shadowheart staring at this destroyed statue. I tried to ask her what just happened, but it said this option is no longer valid, and I was like, what is going on there? So I don't know if that was some glitch or something. I'm not sure what was happening there, but I jumped in here anyway, and I got up to the gears of the windmill, and I managed to just put a stop to them. Then I realised there was a doorway I could have walked through down there, but before I went back out of it, I just climbed up this ladder to make sure there was nothing hidden up there. And then I came back out the doorway and back around and untied the gnome. He wasn't the most grateful person ever, and he kind of did call out that I was going to extort him now because I'd given him help. And he had a bit of an attitude. And I was tempted to be like, yeah, give me some gold then if you're going to be a bitch about it. If you're going to like shit talk me before I even asked for gold. I mean, I was annoyed because he was correct, to be fair. I was like, okay, I've rescued you and now give me my reward. It was what was in my head, and it annoys me how accurate that this character is. But then he gave me this sort of sob story about how he found this amulet of his friend covered in blood back in Baldur's Gate, and he gave it to his friend a long time ago, and he's pretty sure he wouldn't part with it, and he's kind of upset that this happened, and he's gonna go look for him, and that if we run into him later in Baldur's Gate, maybe we'll be able to help him or whatever. I'm pretty sure if you press him for a reward, the only thing he has on him is most likely that amulet or locket or whatever he just showed us. And I probably wouldn't have taken it off him if he told me that story, like, so I just let him go and tried to do a good deed just for the sake of it, even though I did kind of want paid for helping him. So anyway, we went back to this armorer guy back in the Emerald Grove, and Karlach looks pretty funny with her hat. So does Shadowheart, but yeah, I'm just going to keep these hats on because it just amuses me to see them with their hair down. Um, and yeah, I don't know if Karlach just made holes for her horns or whatever, but what we're actually here to see is she's installing this new, like, reworked engine into her chest. And it didn't cool her down, but it did help her and regulate what was going on with her. But it turns out we're going to need some more infernal iron to like fully complete these repairs or whatever, or these upgrades. But Karlach's pretty happy that we've made any progress at all. And we just make promise that we're going to get like a second upgrade for her, and that will like cool her down the next time. So let's see, what was I doing next? Yeah, I went back to camp, had some more dialogue with Karlach. She's just talking about her engine and how it was installed into her and stuff like that. and I was just intrigued to get a bit of her backstory. I decided it would be a good time to come back to the camp and just rest and advance some of the personal character storylines or whatever. Uh, because I need to get into the habit of like doing a small quest or maybe like a dungeon crawl and then deciding to go back to camp after that just to save up and drop off loot, sell off items, and speak to all the characters because they usually have something to say after most things you do. Like most little encounters you have, and I could be missing stuff by not returning to camp often enough, so I'm trying to train myself to like do something for about an hour, and then come back to camp, and then just end the play session there. Something really important happened this time, which was our vampire friend like finally reveals that he's a vampire. The only reason I knew he was a vampire already is because like it was all over Twitter. Nobody would shut up about him and being a vampire and making bad jokes and stuff about him drinking blood and stuff. Um, but yeah, he was gonna feed on us, and he was really thirsty. And he's telling us all this stuff that he'll be able to fight better in battle if we give him some blood. Um, I was a bit worried about turning into a vampire if I let him do this, but it seemed like that wasn't actually what was gonna happen because uh, I don't know. I just had a feeling that that wasn't gonna happen because if the only way to keep him in our party or something was to let him feed on us, and it kind of forced everyone to become a vampire, I thought that was a bit of a strange design choice. So I did agree. I knew that there was going to probably be some like debuff or something to my character the next day, but I just had a feeling that I wasn't going to turn into a full vampire. And he does explain after that he's only a spawn of a vampire rather than a true blooded vampire or something like that, because the vampire that bit him never fully completed the transformation or whatever, and that so he can't really turn us or whatever, uh, and that's why he can't get like burnt in the sunlight or whatever. Or actually, no, the thing about the sunlight, it's because he thinks the parasite is stopping it, and he used to not be able to go out during the day and stuff. So we got a lot of his backstory here, and we do have a debuff when we wake up. It's called the Bloodless debuff. I think it gives you like a -1 to certain skill checks and affects you in battle or whatever. But on the plus side, now our vampire friend, he's gonna have this happy bonus because he was able to feed. Um, and the next day in battle, he's gonna be more effective and stuff. So there is a trade off for that. So we just discuss it a bit more, and this is where he's explaining about how he's not a full vampire because he never fed off his the vampire who turned him or whatever, and that we're not actually going to turn into a vampire. And it was interesting that he didn't tell us this before, and he sort of made us like trust him before giving us that information, probably to see just how much we really did trust him. Just to let him do that and have blind faith that we weren't going to become a vampire. Obviously, Karlach and everyone, they've been paying attention to what happened, so they're all coming over here to be like, yeah, don't try to bite us. You better like watch yourself around camp now, whatever. And they're getting a bit on edge. Karlach seems to be a bit more fine with it than everyone else. Um, but yeah, we just sort of warn him that we're going to keep an eye on him and not to bite anyone else except me or whatever. So I'm glowing red now because I have this bloodless debuff, but it doesn't seem too bad because I'm going to be using the vampire guy a lot to like open chests and stuff because he's like my rogue character. I thought it would be pretty good to give him like a bonus check on certain stuff. I gave Gil some magic gloves or something here to heal him up because again, I still have to give him magical items, or otherwise something bad's gonna happen to him. It seems. I think he might just die if we don't do it. And while I'm not that fond of him, I don't want to lose any party members unnecessarily, or anything. So I'm gonna keep sacrificing these items at the moment, and hopefully we find a way to end this sort of part of the game pretty quickly. Because I really don't want to get to a point where it's like I have a really, really valuable magic sword or something, and it's unfortunately the only item I can give to him that day, and then he ends up destroying that really good sword or something. Um, so I came back to this crypt, this old set of ruins that I'd entered before, and I decided that this time I was gonna disable all the traps and just steal everything in here and see how this went. So I'm probably gonna end the video here just at the start of this tomb. But yeah, that's what I'm gonna be doing next time, is probably raiding this old ruin. And managed to disarm this trap on this sarcophagus, and I think I got some good gear out of it. And it looks like this place will have some good loot in it. It seems to be an old church or something like that, so we're going to do a bit of a dungeon crawl the next time. Or I might just play that off screen and see how it goes. But yeah, thanks for watching, people, and I'll see you again next time with day 5.